and welcome to Youth in Sports, where every Tuesday night at 7:30 p.m. we feature special guests from near and far. The program is sponsored by ATI Physical Therapy, providing certified athletic trainers to more than 30 area high schools and colleges. First State Orthopedics, the team taking care of Delaware with a commitment to excellence. And Wilmington University, where Youth in Sports is produced by the College of Technology's students and faculty. And now, from the studio at President Jack Barcelona's Wilmington University, your hosts for Youth in Sports, ALSSM Mr. Sports Medicine 2012, Dr. Michael Axe, UD and St. Elizabeth's own Dr. Joseph Strait, and co-founder of Youth in Sports, Mr. Walter Laudine.
Welcome to Youth in Sports. Tonight we have an outstanding show, and I really mean that. It's the 20th anniversary of the Beast of the East. For you wrestling fans, I say no more. I'm talking about real wrestling fans, not WWF. But this is the meet that everyone wants to be part of. This year we're going to have 850 participants from 103 different high schools to celebrate the 20th anniversary of a dream. And one of the dreamers is here tonight, Vic Leonard, with the most recent dreamers that are taking on the responsibilities and have for the last 10 years, Bob Shaw and colleagues, and we have two wrestlers as well. On my left is a dreamer, Walter Laudine. What did you dream about this week, sir?
That this was the last show of this thing, and I wouldn't have to see you until another couple months.
That's absolutely right.
It was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. God willing, you'll still be alive.
And
I've been having that nightmare as well.
I want to wish my daughter,
Andrea
Andrea Connolly, a happy birthday. She's the love of my life. Couldn't have a more perfect daughter. Happy birthday, Andrea.
Well, I'm Dr. Joseph Strait, and I'd like to start off by congratulating Dr. Axe's son, Jeremy Axe, who is a physician now, doing his sports medicine, I shouldn't say that, it's an orthopedic residency now, but he will be headed to James Andrews down in Alabama to do his sports fellowship, as well as he was accepted to Harvard for his shoulder and elbow. So congratulations, Jeremy.
Yeah, and Jeremy's been part of the Beast of the East for a number of years, and actually has been responsible for writing up how to man a facility like this and to do the things that we're going to try and do. This will be our 5th year that we're collecting complete data, but our goal is to make every physician comfortable with manning up or womaning up to run a meet like this, not necessarily this big, but certainly that there's no fear, and that's what happens with this. The staffing that comes together from ATI, one of our sponsors, and we couldn't do it without Silvestri Mushrooms leading the charge and making sure that everyone's happy. They have the happiness factor, and then we have the health factor, which is manned by the ATI with the folks from our group at First State Orthopedics, with colleagues from Christiana Care and also other colleagues from the University of Delaware, all trying to keep the athletes as happy as we possibly can from a health standpoint. And then we have Steve Lex and Bob Shaw trying to keep the coaches happy, which together is not always easy, but thanks for your attempts to do so. Okay, Shaw, it's your 10th year as the tournament director. You tell me it's your swan song, that you're going to hand it off to the guy on your right who's in charge of facilities, and now he's going to be the tournament director.
Yep.
What do you got in store for us at the 20th anniversary of the Beast of the East?
Well, we're bringing in some of the old guns from Ohio. A couple of the teams coming in that were back in the day. Some of the powerhouses, bringing them in.
Who are they?
Maspillion Perry, and
Brecksville.
Brecksville's been here the last 2 years, but they're the two big guns. We've tried to get a couple of the others, didn't work with their schedules. But we got some new things lined up with track wrestling lined up. And
track wrestling.
Track wrestling is one of the hottest scoring systems out there in the country. And right now it's all over the internet. Our semifinals and finals will be televised live through Flow Wrestling this year on the internet. So you can go on to track wrestling and follow it. You can follow your kid to his match. You won't be able to see it visually, the preliminary matches, but you'll be able to see his score. You log on to track wrestling and you'll see, if you're out in Ohio, your kid's wrestling, you'll know it's the first period, he's up 2-0, right time, whatever you call that.
Real time.
Real time, right there.
That's
So
nice.
that's unbelievable.
Really nice for the
that we hooked up with
families
this,
that can't travel.
we think it's going to make the event a lot better. This, like I said, I just want to thank Vic for giving me the opportunity 10 years ago to step in here. And again, this is it is my swan song. I'm done. Steve's taken over, and he's going to be the new tournament director starting next year.
We'll be here for the 21st Beast of the East. If it's December and it's 2 weeks before the Beast of the East, okay, we're going to have them on Youth in Sports. Okay, so we'll go there.
I got to thank my family. It's been very patient for 10 years. It takes a lot of time, and they don't see me too much from the 1st of December till Christmas time, and it's not too good to show up Christmas Eve and your wife's like, who are you, you know, so it's time to step out. Vic knows, brother, it was tough. He twisted my arm heavily. But before we start that too, I want you to reach down, Dr. Axe, and grab my briefcase there real quick and open that up for me.
Okay, we're going to open up the briefcase.
Are you paying us now?
Yeah.
All right, so this is the Beast of the East. That's a plaque.
We got a little plaque here.
It's a plaque here.
Show of our appreciation for Dr. Axe and everything he's done for the Beast. He's been a part of us for 20 years.
Well, that's a very nice present. Thank you very much, and we will display this proudly. It says the Beast of the East Wrestling Tournament and Delaware Wrestling Alliance, the #1 wrestling tournament in the country. It's to me and from the staff and the board of directors. And I wasn't aware of this, but thank you very much, Bob. It is
my pleasure. Thank you.
It is. I'll tell you what. I get tired covering football games. I cover 3 and 4 each weekend at the state tournament level, but there is nothing that makes me more tired than the 2 days of the Beast of the East. We start at 6:30. We end we're 9, 10, 11, 12 on Saturday night, and then we start again at 9 o'clock on Sunday, and we go till 7. And I will smile and say I look forward to the beginning of football every year, and I look forward to the end of it. I look forward to the skin checks and weigh-ins at the Beast of the East on Saturday morning, and I'm very happy when it's over on Sunday night. But I enjoy it immensely. It is so much fun to see the best athletes at their craft, at their sport, doing what they love to do against competition that they love to compete in. And what's your take on the event, Joe? Since Walter's never been to it.
I was going to say, I've been working now for the past 5 years, and it's the best wrestling tournament I've ever been to. There's tons of kids. It's high-quality kids, and the tournament's run excellent. Kudos to you guys for everything you've done, starting with Vic and with you now, Bob. And Mike's done, as we know, 20 years with this, and he's put his time in, and it's an excellent program. I wouldn't miss it. I'm there every year now.
Vic, you did the show. The show's 21 years old now. Mm-hmm. You were on the first year.
Yeah, I've been on a few years.
Yeah, well, the first year, and you've been on, the Beast of the East been on for 20-some years.
Yes, that's true.
You know, we always had some great wrestlers. I'm always trying to find a new jockey. We're one of the young wrestlers with a small weight limit.
Yeah, we'll get to a couple of those guys, but you want to go ahead and talk with Vic about taking him down memory lane?
Yeah, Vic, I remember that it was such a great idea. I didn't realize, because my son never wrestled, but now my grandson's wrestling, so I go to the matches, and appreciate toughest 6 minutes in sports, and it certainly is. And these two wrestlers up there are state champs, and hopefully they're going to carry Delaware's banner. But how did you come up with this? I mean, it just was an immense idea. I mean, just by talking to Bob, where he's giving it up to Steve, it's an immense idea, immense undertaking.
Well, it was hard in the beginning to convince people that something we wanted to do to showcase our kids. And as I said in the past, we wanted some respect. And I officiate all over the country, and our kids never got respect in Delaware. Very few of them. So it was originally just a regional thing in the beginning until it started growing, that we bring in the best from the four-state area and prove that we can compete with them. And sure enough, we did. The first 5 years, we dominated. The Mid-Atlantic Classic was turned into the Beast. And you see there, all the wrestlers there went on to be NCAA champions, 24 of them from our tournament, some of them didn't even win the Beast. We had a 3-time NCAA champion, Greg Jones. He got third and won the NCAAs 3 times, which is quite amazing. Our Olympic champion this year, Jordan Burroughs, never even placed, 2-time NCAA champ and Olympic champion. So it's a tough tournament. It's really gotten tough, and our kids have done really well. I'm proud.
But the respect you get, I mean, like everybody is just like Mike's plaque says, you know, the best tournament in the country. How do you, you know, like I say, kudos to you. You came up with this idea and made it into the top wrestling tournament in the country, in Delaware, which is like outrageous.
Well, it was traveling around. We knew Pennsylvania teams were going to be the key. And we didn't get any of those till the 4th annual, which was at Del State. We got Easton to come down, and they were ranked, I think, 5th in the nation at that time. And they got 4th at the Beast. And then people started opening their eyes. Then the 5th annual, we got Northampton, and the PA team started flooding in. We had to start turning them away. And then our next goal was to get Ohio, St. Ed's, who were always top 5 in the nation. And I was officiating the high school nationals in Pittsburgh, and I happened to, I was out there talking to the coach, Greg Urbis, and we convinced him and the Blair coach and Walsh Jesuit, who was ranked 10th that year, to have their come to our event for the 1 year, which was our 10th annual, and or I mean 8th annual. And they all said, okay, we'll have it in Delaware this year. And that's when it really took off, and it was 3rd year or 1st in the nation, #1 tournament in the nation. And Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Jersey, to me, they're the toughest states in the union.
Well, one of the things that they do really interesting is they're after the event meeting. And I've never seen a group of people be so hard on themselves from every aspect of the meet. What can we do better to make the athletes have a better experience, the parents have a better experience, and to be a better tournament? What can we do for the coaches? How can we have better food? What can medical do to make it nicer for the interactions? And it's such a hardship to tell an athlete that they can't continue, or how do we take care of them to get them ready to be back in time? Contacting the hospitals in advance so they get them back in time so the kid can make his next bout. I mean, these are things that everybody works together to try and do. And I think that I've never ever been to a meeting that there hasn't been at least 5 suggestions on how we can make it better the next time. And initially there were probably 10 or 15, but I take my hat off to the entire management corps and the volunteer corps in the end of our first segment on just how much you've tried to make it a really interesting and fun experience, and I use the fun in quotations in the sense that everybody wants to win, and those that don't do well oftentimes leave with a less than positive experience about the interactions they had on the match. They always want to blame the officials. But the truth of the matter is that probably for every time you lost a match by an official, you've won a match by an official. It tends to even itself out, and it's never the same official. And even the officials get graded, Walter. If they don't do a good job, they don't get invited back.
Yeah, but the other thing about the officials is they're donating their time.
That's
the thing about this tournament that people have to realize.
Because everybody wants to be part
does.
of it, because it's just that good. It's a fun thing to do. We have a few seconds left, but we're going to end this by saying thank you to all those people that volunteer for the Beast of the East. We'll be back right after this.
I will keep dancing on point, even if it hurts.
My arm is killing me. I don't know if I can pitch another ball. But I'll just play through the pain anyway.
I have to do the big stunts. To look better than the other cheerleaders, our tosses are bigger.
My elbow really aches, but I've got to keep practicing.
Don't tell them it hurts. They'll take you out of the game if you do. I have to push harder if I'm going to get a scholarship. I'm feeling dizzy, but I don't want to tell anyone.
Everyone's counting on me. I can't rest now.
Nearly 50% of all sports injuries sustained by middle and high school students are from overuse. Don't play through the pain. See your healthcare provider and follow their instructions for rest and recovery. Take the pledge. Become an advocate for sports safety. Visit stopsportsinjuries.org.
Go team!
Back to Youth in Sports, Beast of the East. This is the 20th anniversary, the 2012 edition of the Beast of the East, and we have with us representatives from that organization. If you're just tuning in, Silvestri Mushrooms is going to get a thank you absolutely every segment, because without Donna Silvestri, this would be just an average tournament, but she makes it special in so many different ways. She and her company, they've always supported this and allow a lot of us to kind of tag along to live our dream with hers. And we're talking about the #1 wrestling tournament in the country. It does happen to be in Newark, Delaware. It is going to be the 22nd and 23rd of December. Get your Christmas shopping done early. If you have to make one time, if you want to allot just 3 hours, I would recommend that you do it at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning in the semifinals. That is the best wrestling. That is the top 4, and it is the most exciting. It's the one where I try to have enough medical coverage that I can go be a spectator and not have to be a doctor for that time frame. And I go hide and let Dr. Straight do that, do all the work for that frame, and he's nice enough to do that for me.
But usually there's not a lot of problems at that level.
Well, one thing about it, you have a lot of college coaches there looking at these kids, and it's a big boon for them because they get to see the top wrestlers in the country, and it's a big boon for the wrestlers because they get noticed, and maybe they're coming to see a couple of kids and they find some other kids.
What do you think this wrestling community spends in the course of the weekend for Newark Commerce? What do you think that number is?
Oh, it's got to be huge. Got to be huge. How many wrestlers do you say you're going to have this year? 800 something?
850 and their families, okay.
Figure 800 times 200. 1,600,000?
800 times 200?
Don't forget the fans.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, the families.
Yep. Now, well, 800 times 200 is not 1,600,000.
No, but I'm talking.
So what is it projected, Bob?
We're figuring about $1 million.
In commerce.
There
It's
you
about
go.
$1 million in commerce.
And
That's a lot for a weekend.
That's commerce just for Delaware, but getting here and
The housing, and
all that
hotels,
stuff.
all the restaurants.
So he's talking about the travel
transportation.
Oh, yeah.
It goes back to show when Vic started this, and we talked a little bit off air. It started at St. Mark's, you said, with 11 teams, and it's regional, and how this thing has grown to, and you can tell us it went from St. Mark's to Newark to Del State to hosting it, and now it's at the University of Delaware.
Well, I'm going to ask you three guys, what over the last, Bob, 10 years for you, but you were around before that too.
Yeah,
you were a
I was
looker.
a part of it, yeah.
And Steve, how long have you been around the tournament?
Well, I've been around the tournament the whole time, other than I've been active in helping for the last 6, 7 years.
Okay, but you've been around. You know what's going on. Vic, you've started it. Of all the years, what teams have really impressed you over the years that you might want to give a shout out to?
Blair Academy.
Blair?
That's
16 out of 19 years they've won it, which is pretty amazing. They've been #1 most of those years. But again, Steve Bastinelli actually brought Blair in the first one, so we had
From
to have
St.
kudos
Mark's.
to Steve.
Steve Bastinelli from St.
They were
Mark's.
friends, and he happened to bring them down for that small tournament, and then it took off from there. But without Steve, we wouldn't have had Blair. And we had a big ice storm that first year, and a couple teams didn't make it. We had 13, got down to 11. But Blair came through, and they've been here ever since. We have 4 teams been with us 20 years. We're going to recognize this year. Sussex Central, St. Mark's, DeMatha, Maryland, and Blair. So there are only 4 been with us all 20. So I thought it's pretty neat.
What about you, Steve? Any teams stick out beside Blair?
Blair's the #1 team that sticks out. I tell you, there's St. Mark's, Smyrna CR, and Delaware have represented Delaware well at this tournament on a national level year in and year out. And there's other individuals from Delaware.
And that's amazing that Delaware, has done so well. The kids in Delaware, like Vic said, they didn't get the notoriety that the wrestlers get from all of the other countries in the strong states like Ohio, New Jersey. What are the other big states for wrestling high school?
Pennsylvania.
New York.
Pennsylvania, New York.
Ohio.
Now, I always hear about the guy in North Dakota, the college guy, the coach, who was an Olympic wrestler.
Is that Cale Sanderson? Are you talking about?
Well, the colleges are
Penn
big in
State
the
now.
Midwest.
Yeah,
all your
he's
big
smooth.
schools are Midwest. There's a lot of good wrestlers in the Midwest, but they're not as many and densely populated it is in Pennsylvania, Jersey, and New York, and Ohio. If you take the whole state of Oklahoma, it's a big state, so they're spread out. Whereas,
But here's
what's one of the highest a Delaware State school has finished?
I think fourth, third, or fourth.
Well, if you're talking about the beginning,
Yeah,
you were top
beginning.
5 always. St. Mark's way
Always
Penn.
early. And
The
then how
second
about when
year-
it's gotten larger?
last
St.
10
Mark's.
years?
But a couple years ago, St. Mark's are like third or fourth.
Yeah,
up
they
in
won the
top five,
Governor's
which is
Trophy.
unusual now with
Excellent.
100 teams.
We were the Governor's Trophy for the highest finished Delaware team.
That's pretty amazing.
St. Mark's.
You know what's
really
happened
amazing.
though, and why wrestling has gotten better in Delaware is the monies that are made on this tournament are used for scholarships, but they're also used to fund youth wrestling, in which they send the teams to Fargo,
Fargo, that's
in North Dakota. You want to talk a little bit about that, Bob?
Yeah, in the past 10 years ago, when we had DWA was formed, there was kids going out to Fargo. They were paying $1,500 to go, and you might have 5 kids go out a year. And there was a couple other tournaments that the kids really couldn't afford to go in the summer. We started with the money we came up with. We just started raising an unbelievable amount of money, and we've awarded $656,000 in scholarships. But on top of that, every year we end up with about, I guess, about $80,000 in profits, basically, from the tournament and different events that we run. And we take a certain amount of money. This year we took $40,000 and put it in summer programs. So now we fund these kids to go to Fargo. So now we're sending 20 kids to Fargo. We send 2 teams to Disney Duels every year in June. And Disney Duels is just unbelievable. There's 70 teams down at wrestling in end of June. So for our kids to be wrestling all year round now, it costs, I think it usually costs a kid average of probably $200 or $300 to go to Disney, which it costs basically $900, but we're picking up the tab for the other $400 or $500. So it really allots a lot of kids, and we tried to limit the money to just one tournament. You can't go to 3 tournaments and get X number of dollars from us. So if you want to go to Fargo, you can. You can go to Disney Duels, you can go to AAU's freestyles, but we're only going to fund you one time. So it gives everybody a chance to benefit from our money, and it's just amazing.
Pretty special, huh?
That's what's taking the level of Delaware wrestling up, is these kids wrestle all year round now to compete with the Pennsylvanians, the Ohio.
Well, I think that they wrestle all year long against good wrestlers. The problem is that so often in Delaware, if you don't wrestle out of state, it's like being the best car in Yugoslavia. You're not sure how good a car it is, you just happen to be the best car that's there. But the wrestlers here, they weren't getting the competition. Now, there's always 4 wrestlers in every weight class that's quality here, okay? Don't get me wrong. To be a state champ in Delaware has always been an honor, okay? And to be a multi-state champ, as some of our colleagues are, has been a bigger honor. But the truth is that they don't have to wrestle every week, every match hard. And that's what this competition allows them to do, is to have periods of time in which they're going out and they're wrestling really good people to kind of get an idea of where they are and what they need to get better at when they do come back and they go into other realms.
That's the same in every sport. Every team that's done exceptionally well has traveled, whether it's football, basketball, baseball.
Danny, what place did you take in the state your first year? Did you place at all?
No.
No. There's a guy here.
Let's talk to him.
This is Dan
Dan
Downs from St. Mark's, okay? Who's a senior, been a state champ. Go ahead.
Dan, where'd you start wrestling?
Where did I start? In Northeast Maryland.
How old were you?
How old was I? About 12.
Why'd you get into wrestling? Somebody in your family, one of your brothers, sisters?
Yeah, it was a football coach actually got me into it, and just I loved it. Once I.
Right away?
Yeah. Just always liked it.
So when you went to, did you move up here or are you still down in Maryland?
No, I'm still in Maryland.
So you ship up to go to St. Mark's?
Yeah, it's only like a 40-minute ride. It's not
Was
too bad.
St. Mark's a choice because of their wrestling program?
Partially.
Partially?
And it's a good school, so I went to get it.
Excellent school. So how have you made out at St. Mark's? Your first year, you're a senior now. And by the way, where are you going to go to school?
I'm looking at a few schools. Maybe Roger Williams, Rhode Island.
Are you going to wrestle? You want to wrestle in
Yeah,
college?
I want to wrestle.
What about in this tournament? You might get some offers.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons that the tournament's so great. There's a lot of coaches there. So you might want to think about that. Maybe you change your mind. What are you going to major in?
I'm thinking engineering.
Would you like to be a coach one day? wrestling coach?
Yeah, eventually.
Okay, okay. So now you started wrestling when you were a freshman?
Yeah.
12, it was
well,
12.
I was like 12.
Okay, so how'd you do?
Not very good when I first started out.
Why not?
It's tough at first.
Tough, right? So what spurred you on? Did the coaching at St. Mark's, did you have another coach? Did you wrestle outside St. Mark's?
Yeah, off season, like club stuff, just in the summer, it just helps so much. You get a lot better over summertime when you wrestle year round.
Okay, now as a sophomore, how'd you do?
I improved a lot from freshman year because that's when I really started wrestling all summer. And then sophomore year is still a little rough. Then once we got back into Delaware, I got second at state sophomore year.
Oh, that's great. Now, what did you wrestle as a freshman?
125.
And what did you wrestle as a sophomore?
135.
Now you're a junior.
No, I'm a senior now.
No, he's a senior.
No, now you're a junior. What did you wrestle as a junior?
138.
And how'd you do?
I won states as a junior.
Okay, and now you're a senior. Your last year, you won states again. What did you wrestle at?
No, he's going into the senior year.
Well, you're going into your senior year.
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay.
So this is the
So he
beginning of
finished
that.
second his sophomore year. He finished first his junior year, and he's going to be starting his senior year with hopefully a win at the Beast.
But Danny's one of them type of guys, if you watch him come along, I've just been so impressed with it. Certain kids come in, they're talented when they come in. They're junior Pee Wee champs, since they were 12 years old, and they've been wrestling year round. Danny didn't. He came in as a freshman.
He started as a 12-year-old.
Yeah, but he didn't excel, okay? And then when he got into his high school and in his freshman year and he started going to summer programs, I never saw a kid that just take off like he did because he was getting that competition and he put the time in. You got to put the time in.
Dan, do you have to wrestle in the summer?
Yeah.
To be excel?
Definitely. It helps a lot.
And that's where these monies that they raise are able to
send
these kids to be able to go wrestle
and he
throughout
took
the year.
advantage of all of it, and that's where he's at
That's
today,
excellent.
two-time state champion.
What did you like to do with wrestling after this?
Wrestling in college, I would like to. I'm not sure what division. I'm thinking D2 or D3. I don't really want to go D1.
Okay, okay. And good luck for you in the tournament.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting tournament. We'll have, if we have 3 in the finals, we've had a heck of a year. If we have top 10 in the semis, we had a heck of a year. We'll be back right after this.
What does opportunity mean to you? At Wilmington University, it means providing a personalized educational experience where students learn anywhere at any time. Wilmington University provides a variety of ways to complete your degree. Choose the flexibility of online learning, or attend classes during the day, in the evening, or on weekends at locations throughout the region. It's your degree. Choose how you earn it. Personalized education, affordable tuition. That's the difference at Wilmington University. What does opportunity mean to you? At Wilmington University, it means finding an innovative degree program that fits your goals and prepares you for a successful career. It means finding a school that fits your life. We know the importance of providing individual attention, affordable tuition, and unparalleled flexibility and service. Because at Wilmington University, it's not about meeting your expectations, it's about exceeding them. Personalized education, affordable tuition, that's the difference at Wilmington University.
Welcome back to Youth in Sports. This is segment 3 of the Beast of the East. We've had the pleasure of talking about the history of the event. We've gotten involved with some of the wrestlers, and we're going to come back to Brent Fleetwood, our
Smyrna Slasher.
Smyrna Slasher.
Brent, when did you start wrestling?
I started when I was 6 years old.
Where?
Smyrna Little Wrestlers.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Smyrna, everybody didn't know that Delaware, probably 5-6 years ago, Smyrna was small town USA.
Yeah,
and I know Smyrna, it's a wonderful place.
Yeah.
I got a good friend that lives down there on a farm. And So you had wrestling in Smyrna, club wrestling?
Well, yeah, when I was 6, I started wrestling at Smyrna, and then I liked it, and decided I wanted to pursue it. Around 7 or 8, I joined Tyrants, and then I was wrestling back and forth between them two, and just kept doing that up until middle school and high school and everything.
How many times have you thanked your parents for driving you to wrestling, to the events? Do you remember to do that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
They got me a vehicle right away, so I guess.
I know all about that. When they turn 16, give them a car, we're done.
What about? No, they couldn't do this without that, you know. And I don't want to miss the parents that every successful wrestler that we have either has a parent or a coach who's been responsible for picking them up and dropping them off and making sure that they get to where they're supposed to be, and teaching you time management skills. Have you ever in a tournament missed a bout?
No, I've never missed a bout.
Okay, because
I mean, if you miss your bout, you forfeit.
Understood that part. So how do you keep track of that? You know, in this event, the Beast, the
Beast is not. Yeah, the Beast is run. I mean, it's smooth. And at the bigger tournaments, it'll be up on the bracket, and you just, I mean, you can look at your bracket, you'll know when you're coming up, and you're on the same mat usually, or the same weight.
So what do? You know you're going to wrestle early at your weight class at 113. You're going to wrestle early.
Yeah.
So you'll probably have, we'll get through 103. You'll probably be about 10 of 10 somewhere in that area. How long does it take us to get through the 103 bracket?
I don't know.
40 minutes.
That's what I mean. So I'm about right, because you're in the second bracket. You'll be the second.
Yeah,
113. 113. So I wasn't off too much.
So Brent, okay, you started wrestling when you were 6 right away. Liked it right away, and
yeah.
Yes or no?
I wasn't very good when I very first started.
Well, I don't know who is, you know.
Yeah. But wait. You've done really well since, right?
Yeah.
Now you're going to Smyrna. You went to Smyrna High, right?
Yeah, I go to Smyrna High.
Okay. Was there any thought about going to maybe a wrestling school?
I mean, yeah.
I don't know. I know.
Wait. This is someone who doesn't know wrestling. Remember that what Walter's saying comes out of Walter's mouth, okay?
I'm going to let him dig that hole.
You're going to let him dig that hole.
Smyrna's a great wrestling school.
Great wrestling school.
Great wrestling school.
You notice how both Dr. Strait and I looked at Walter. Did you know what you just absolutely?
Well, let's get back to Brent. We know, and everybody. You're now a junior, correct?
Yes.
And you're a 2-time state champion, so that means you won your state championship in what weight classes?
103.
Both in 103?
Well, it was 103, then it was 106 last year. The weight changed.
And how about, have you placed in the Beast at all?
Yeah, I placed last year. I got 4th.
Wow, that's great.
Really good.
Yeah.
Fargo also.
Oh.
He was a Fargo champion and 3-time All-American.
You went to Fargo?
Yeah, I've been out to Fargo a couple
now
times.
remember that an All-American is the top 8 places, so that when you hear that, they could have been 1 through 8. That's still, they probably had 200 people in their weight class when they were there. How many were in your weight class at Fargo?
Not 200, but I mean, there's a lot of kids out there. I mean,
and they're all serious, so they wouldn't have traveled all the way to the Badlands.
It's it's very
best
serious
in the country. A lot of your Beast champions go out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, that's the
have
guy
been
that's
there,
out
right?
there
Yes.
that's running that tournament is the Olympic champ that, I forget his name, but famous wrestler.
You mean Cale Sanderson or
No.
recently?
No,
Gable.
a long time ago. But you
Dan
know,
Gable.
Dan Gable.
Yeah, Dan Gable. That's
yeah.
it. Dan Gable. Did you meet Dan Gable when you were out there?
Yeah, he comes out, I mean, as many years I've been out there, he comes out and does autographs one of the days.
Have you been able to do it? Dan Gable's trick where you turn a card and do push-ups?
Nah, I've never even seen it.
I tried it. I have to have the right cards.
Yeah.
I have to have the right cards because all the face cards count as 10, and that means you have to turn them, and you have to do 10 push-ups, and then you turn the next card, and then you have to continue doing those push-ups up until you get through the entire deck. So and he was able to do that.
Oh, I'm sure. The guy was like phenomenal. I mean, he was
I've
10
had
for every
day.
card, and there are 50.
So 10
No.
face
cards 10.
That's on it.
But there's a lot of face cards. This is a time, unlike at Delaware Park, where you don't want to see a lot of face cards.
Yeah.
Not in a row, anyway.
Not unless you're playing back right.
That's exactly right.
What about college for you? Where are you thinking about going?
I'm very undecided.
You want to go far or close?
Last week it was close. This week it's far.
Far.
What do you want to study? Let's start there. What if you didn't have to have if you never had to go to work a day in your life because you liked your job so much, what would it be?
I'm undecided on that too, but I think I'm gonna go somewhere either in business or agriculture, maybe agriculture science or something.
Yeah, well,
Do you live on a
big
farm?
farming state.
I don't live on a farm, but I mean I've grown up and done farm work, and I've done with like cattle and stuff like that.
Which do you think is harder, wrestling or farm work?
Farm work.
Wrestling.
Well, you're not on the right farm.
I'll tell you what, I thought it would be farm work.
Oh man.
No way.
It's tough, and in fact, you see some of these farmer kids that have done all of these chores. They're built in football and wrestling. And what about? You say you don't know if you want to go far or close. But what about the toughest wrestler you ever wrestled?
Toughest wrestler? Can't even say. I've wrestled a lot of tough people. I couldn't even think of a name.
All right, so now you're looking forward to the Beast. You know who's coming, right? Do you know who's coming
Do you
yet?
know who?
I have an idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to end up wrestling. So who do you think will be one of the early people? Bob, talk about seeding, or sorry, Steve, talk about the seeding. How do we seed these people, these wrestlers? Do we seed the top 12 and then the rest are as cans, or what are we doing?
We usually like to top seed at least 12. Sometimes we might go 16 deep, depending upon how many kids are in that weight class that qualify, have points. It's based on a point system. Adrian Stewart sets it up, and if they placed at the Beast last year, if they were state champions, Fargo champion, if they were national prep, it's a point system.
So Brent's got to be a high seed.
Explain to Walter, who would not understand the seeding, as if he was talking to the folks looking in, and how it isn't that you really try hard not to put the two best wrestlers together early in the event.
You definitely don't want to have the two best wrestlers. You have to have them in the opposite side of the bracket.
What,
That's
I
the
just
goal.
fall off the turnip truck?
You knew that?
Figure that out?
You think that?
Yeah.
Did you know that they seeded all the way to so the top 16 wouldn't face each other right away? Did you know they went
but
that
I
far?
know what seeding is. I mean, I'm sure Brent's going to have a good seed.
Brent's going to be up near
Fargo
the
champ,
top. We'll have to
state
see who
champ.
else is in that weight class.
Fourth at the Beast.
So Brent could be one of the top 4 seeds.
So
depending
the
upon
seeding
who's
isn't
there.
done yet?
It's not done. It'll be done
Okay.
finalized next Thursday. All the teams are putting their final rosters on over the next week, and then next Thursday we get together and do the final seeding.
So when these two wrestlers look at the seeds, they know it's a fair thing based on points.
Nobody is always happy. You always have someone who is unhappy, thinks they should have been higher.
But you say it's based on points.
Well, it's based on
criteria.
points, and then it's based on criterion. But sometimes that criteria, you have to use your better judgment. If they wrestled each other head to head, last year, so there is some subjectivity to it. You don't like to interject that as much as possible because you want to have, the idea is to have the best two wrestlers standing in the finals at the end of the day. So.
Right.
The seeding's the best it can get, but you can ask the two guys up there, how many matches you guys wrestle at the Beast? I mean, and that's
a lot.
And this is over
If
2
you,
days
I mean, if you
against the
keep
best
winning,
kids. So
that's
The
always,
fewest you can wrestle is
seeded off
5,
one-
right?
what?
The fewest that you can wrestle into the finals is 5. The fewest. Right? If you won all your matches, can you? What is the minimum number you have to wrestle, Bob?
It may be 6 matches. It may be 6 matches.
Maybe 6, okay? But you could wrestle as many as 8 because of wrestlebacks. See, what happens is when you lose, these young people they're guaranteed 2 matches. And if they get to the second day, they may wrestle even more than that based upon the number of losses they have in the wrestlebacks. And the wrestlebacks, you may even look at the clock and you'll say, well, the first matches are all 2, 2, and 2, and the finals will all be. And anytime you're wrestling in advancement, the matches are always 6 minutes. But if you wrestle back, the first period will only be 1 minute, and the other 2 periods will be 2 minutes. So you'll be wrestling a 5-minute match. That's how the medical group can get done by the end of the night.
Well, it seems to me it's also to give the wrestlers a break because they got to be tired. How long in between matches, Brent?
I mean, like
Usually.
usually it depends if you're winning or losing.
If you're winning,
if
how
you
long?
win, then you might have a couple hours off.
If you
But
lose.
once you go in the losers bracket, I mean, that's when you're
45
there is a
minutes.
set amount
Yeah,
of time.
That's-
There has to
that's
be.
a
Federation,
dogfight. You're just going to
45
keep
Okay.
coming up.
Okay. Medically, 45 minutes is the
Brent will be a top seed, and one of the things he doesn't know, I don't know if he's looked at the bracket, but the brackets aren't out, but he could know who's in there. We have 4 number 1 kids coming in the country, so he could be, one of the number 1 kids in the country could be coming. We got 2 number 2s coming, and 5 number 3s coming. So his weight class could be stacked. So I mean,
Wow.
he could be a 2 seed, 3 seed, but he's going to have some of the top kids in the country too. And we don't know.
Just
unless
off
he's
the
looking-
top.
Also, Brent is ranked number 5 in the country. Is that correct, Brent?
Yeah.
By Intermat. So
Awesome.
he's
Would a
Congratulations.
certain
Thank you.
kid look at the kids that are coming and say, I don't want to have to jeopardize
Some kids
my
might
weight.
move up a weight or down a weight. They don't want to face this kid.
Exactly,
Now. They might want
that's
to
what I'm
face him
saying.
in national preps or
And
in
is
their
that,
states.
is that allowed? I mean, you can do that?
Well, you do anything you want. You can go any weight you want, but it's coach. It's a team thing too. So the coach kind of sets his line up where he wants him
And he's
to.
trying to win so
trying to win as a
he'll
team.
move his kids around. Sometimes good
Not
for
as
the
much
kids.
in a tournament like this as it would be in a dual meet, but most kids come in at the weight they're going to wrestle most of the year.
Well, if Brent's the champion at 100 and what?
13.
113. I mean, even if he looks at the bracket, he wouldn't want to move either down or up.
Well, you can't move down.
No.
Most kids don't run away from anybody. It's just it's
High collar kids, they want the competition.
they want the
competition.
top
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
You guys want the competition,
That could
right?
be a scholarship.
Yep.
Okay. I want to ask you guys to think about it for the last segment. How many kids do you know that actually got scholarships from coaches from the tournament?
My son.
There you go. But I mean,
Perfect example.
there
Bobby
been-
was not ranked nationally, and he won the Beast. I don't know what year he won it.
2001.
But I don't know if it was his junior year.
He wanted his junior.
His junior year. Yeah, he wanted his junior year.
Well-
And the phone calls just started coming in. I mean, he was unnoticed. Well, you win the Beast, all of a sudden your name goes on radar.
And just so you understand this, Walter, the coaches out there have athletes that they've already given scholarships to, and they're looking to fill certain weight classes. We're going to go to a break and come back right after this and talk more about the Beast of the East.
I know they never make me play with these guys, but why do they make me train like them?
Training hard is important, and for professional athletes, it's their job. But kids aren't professionals and shouldn't train at that level. Keep kids safe on the playing field and out of the operating room. Become an advocate for sports safety. Visit StopSportsInjuries.org.
Welcome back to Youth in Sports, the Beast of the East, December 22nd and 23rd at the Bob Carpenter Center. First matches start at 9 a.m. on Saturday for you fans out there. There's tickets that for 2 days if you want to come and see great wrestling for 2 days.
How much tickets?
$25 for a session, and 2 sessions. I think we do a $40 package for both days.
So that means that you get to watch wrestling from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Saturday, straight through. And then on Sunday, you get to watch from 9 to 7 with just a little break. You get all that wrestling for $40.
It's well worth it.
Well worth it, right?
Well worth it.
Well, like I said, I am amazed. 20 years ago, when Vic was on talking about this tournament, and we all thought it was a great idea. Great way to go, Vic. And now a top tournament in the country. Kudos to you guys. And we know how hard it is. I know how hard it is to run a tournament because I was involved in a lot of stuff. And I know that it's a lot of work. So you guys are the basis so that those guys can get their chance in the sun. And what people also don't understand is when Vic started this, you know, it was all volunteers. And to have a tournament of this size that raised that much money, to have all these guys come together and they're the refs. You know, the refs, the hated refs, the ones that everybody will yell at and scream at. Oh, and they came up with this. Vic came up with this, and his group, and you guys have been around, still going.
Okay, so let's do in summary for people to just tuning in. How much money have you raised from this tournament, Bob?
$656,000.
$656,000.
That's just what
Oh,
we've
no, I'm sorry.
awarded in scholarships.
Oh, no.
We probably,
I'm sorry, yeah.
it's over $1 million. It's got to be over $1 million.
So $656,000 in scholarships. So Steve, tell us who gets the scholarships.
Well, it goes to a senior. There's a scholarship committee. Each school gets to put one applicant into the scholarship committee, and then that committee has to determine which 5 or 6 students get the scholarship.
Now, these are all Delaware, each Delaware school?
Well, it can only be a Delaware school.
Oh, good.
Has to be
Okay.
blessed by the coach and the principal of the school.
So in other words, it has to be an outstanding individual.
Correct, and they have criteria set up
Right.
where the grade point average, I think it has to be a 3.3.
Wow.
Community service is very highly
That's good. No.
looked at in
Football
it.
players too.
They had to wrestle in high school, but they don't have to wrestle in college. So, and the thing about the committee, I think there's 7 people on the committee.
7 now.
Everyone on the committee looks at something different. There's somebody who may look at the criteria of their grade point average and put more emphasis on that. Some might look, well, he's a state champion or a 3-time state champion.
So it's not just all about wrestling.
No, and someone
Complete
else may
package.
look at the community service that they do, and they go heavily on the community service. So that group, that's the toughest job.
Okay.
Even
So
though,
we want to commend that particular group. So you have a scholarship committee. It's given out $656,000. In addition, you have another $500,000 you've given for summer camps and other activities. What other activities do you support besides summer camp?
well, we support the youth in Delaware. Joe Arcangelo now runs a team Delaware for the DWA.
Which is the Delaware Wrestling Alliance, okay?
Right. And we also fund the University of Delaware club team.
Yeah, talk about that. So you're funding the club team. That's what I wanted to get to.
Well, they a couple years ago, we kind of joined a partnership. Obviously, you know the Beast needs a lot of support. The club team has come in and has sent their wrestlers to volunteer setup, work a table, and tear down at the end. For that,
Well, we're all tired. They're college students. They can keep going.
Rolling up mats.
They also work the Fall Classic, which is a DWA event in October for high school wrestlers, preliminary event. So for that, we contribute anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 to their club every year to help them go to national tournaments.
And they've done great.
Do you have any wrestlers that actually have gone either from the Beast to the club team?
Sure,
or
we
that
have.
You guys have given scholarship
We
to?
have wrestlers of both accounts that have wrestled at the
Great.
Beast, have placed in the Beast. There's scholarship award winners that are down there. So they're giving back to us. We're giving to them. So it's a partnership. It's a good
Okay, how does
partnership.
a young person be able to wrestle in the Beast
Well, they have to be in a high school
team?
And that high school team has to participate in the Beast. Right this year, I think we have 13 or 14 Delaware teams.
Okay, so a kid could be a top wrestler, but if he's on a team that's not going to participate, he can't wrestle in the Beast.
Correct.
No, yes, he can.
You make
No, if
exceptions?
he's not,
We have
if that
partial
team-
teams.
Okay.
We have partial teams. The team has to enter as a tournament.
Okay.
That team will get charged an event on their schedule in PA, Ohio, wherever they're at, okay? And they'll still only send one kid. We might only let them bring one kid. We'll tell them, your team cannot get in, you don't qualify, you don't have enough good wrestlers. Well, we got this kid that's national caliber. Can we send him? We'll take him as a partial, and we give him a discounted rate. So
Well, that sounds like a great idea, because that way a great
I had a
wrestler...
call today. A father called me, a coach from California wants his son in.
Wow.
And I'm debating that.
well,
I got to
here's-
look at his credentials.
well,
It's
you
a
get-
pretty late date.
Well, you also have to understand that the team takes it as an event.
Right.
And they're only allowed so many events by their high school federation. So if one athlete comes, everyone on that team
the team.
officially
Is penalized
Has
for an
been
for
event.
that,
penalized
that they
from
can't
that.
wrestle in another event.
So that team would have to sponsor that kid also and say...
They would have to say
They
yes.
put
we
it- the
want
school
you.
put up the money.
Yeah,
Right.
support them
Yeah.
going.
Right.
Yeah, that's why a lot of schools won't do it.
150 volunteers, right? 150 volunteers. Thank you to all the volunteers that are out there that are working the tables. Brand new clocks this year for both injury and blood. I'm excited. I'm actually going to get valuable blood time, something I've been looking to do now for
Valuable
the last...
what?
Well, I can't tell how much time is spent not wrestling because of people bleeding. And when we're doing this national survey that we are on this event, that we accumulate all the information, I'll finally have accurate blood time on how much time was delayed because of people bleeding.
I knew you were a vampire.
I am.
I knew it.
I am. I
I knew it.
absolutely am. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. The other thing I wanted to say is we support the Hall of Fame banquet, the awards banquet, and we have a present Hall of Fame inductee this year, Vic Leonard.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
And rightly so.
Absolutely. I hope you give as good a speech as Jack Holloway.
Jack did a great job this year. We already had it, and Jack did a great job.
Well, no, I'm talking about when he was accepting his. Oh, it was quite a memorable moment. He has some one-liners that are almost as funny as Mr. Schweitzer catching him on the pole after his rehab, for his knee replacement.
He was funny this year, too. He's great. A lot of
He
one-liners.
is absolutely just one of my favorites and a favorite of Youth in Sports. He's been on a number of times, always leaves his mark.
His brother's a famous harness trainer who I know very well.
He was a
and
fraternity brother of mine.
Yeah, and we always talk about that.
Dan, if you had to thank someone or some people that have to date been critical in your career, who would you give a shout out to?
My parents and all my coaches, club coach.
What coach affected you the most? What coach do you think? You said you started badly.
That's a hard question for him to answer.
I can't give it to any
There's not one guy
How about some wrestler that affected you? Somebody you wrestled with?
That's still hard.
Usually
It's
somebody
everyone.
that teaches you.
Everyone contributes, but the coaches, club coach Corey Frederick, my high school coaches.
All right, who's your loudest fan? Who's your loudest fan?
My mom.
Your mom. Okay, there you go.
It's always the mother. Always the mother.
How about you, Brent? Who's your loudest fan?
My dad.
Your dad?
Who
he gets into
affected
it.
you the most, Brent? What coach do you? And I don't want you.
Maybe I'll give you a couple.
Go ahead.
My high school coach, Kurt Howe. I'd like to say
the famous Howe brothers, the coach at Smyrna.
Yeah. I'd like to say Corey Frederick from Tyrants.
Same guy?
Yeah, same guy.
Cool.
We've wrestled together for a while.
Cool.
And then Smyrna, the little wrestler coaches like Jody Wilson, Andy Gillen, people like that, I really need to give a thank to.
He's a great guy.
That they do a lot for so many, and they try to get a lot of young people involved.
It's nice that there's so many people out there that have stayed in this for a long time. Corey Fredericks actually wrestled when I was in high school.
Yeah. Really?
So, yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
He's the
a
new
lot
head
of
coach
you
at
guys
Sanford now.
have stayed in this for a long time, and they keep giving back to the wrestling community, as you guys have for so long.
Do you two guys either like to think about ever being a coach or a ref in wrestling?
I could maybe see myself being a coach.
What about you?
Yeah, I could see myself being a coach.
Okay. Mike always asks a good question. He says that if you become a real successful business person or whatever you're going to do, would you consider giving money to your school?
Definitely.
No, the harder question is, where would you give the money to your school?
Wrestling team.
Yeah, wrestling.
Well, you know what? I have found that to be the case, and it's an isolated group, and they do tend to want to give within their own domain for whatever reason. Wrestlers like wrestlers, and the nice thing about wrestling is being vertically challenged or small does not prevent them from participating, unlike so many other sports where you can't play football because you're undersized, or you can't play basketball because you didn't pick your parents. I mean, there's other reasons why you can't, but obviously wrestling is the great equalizer.
A lot of jockeys were great wrestlers.
It is. It's a different type of sport that keeps everybody involved.
And I love the aspects of the game, and I really like the rule changes. Yes, I have been instrumental in making sure that kids don't cut too much weight, and now the athletes themselves are getting so much smarter. We're seeing less problems with skin problems and the like because their dietary, and because they're wrestling all year long, Mr. Shaw, I think has a lot to do with it, because you don't see those 30-pound swings.
Yeah, we used to see that on the show.
I get to bring up Tommy.
I was amazed that a kid could drop that much weight in less than a month.
We don't allow it to happen, but if they're wrestling in the summer, they're not doing that. What is your weight vary? 10 pounds?
Above 113?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how about you, Dan?
Let me ask a question. When you're talking about weight classes, for the Beast, let's take that tournament, because you guys know it. When do you get weighed, and how long does that weight good for? So if you're going to wrestle Saturday, when do you get weight?
If we wrestle on Saturday, Saturday morning.
What time?
6:30.
That's the time I want you to show up.
6 in the morning.
Okay, so 6 in the morning, you can weigh under that weight or that weight.
Yeah, 113 or under.
How long will that?
Then you got to make weight the next day if you make it.
You got to make it the next
allowance.
day. Okay.
And you get one extra pound.
You get 1 extra pound.
Yes.
Okay.
We're down to 1 minute.
Well, I'll tell you, like I said, you guys deserve a lot of credit, and not only for the wrestling tournament, but for what you've done for Delaware, to make Delaware, something special, which I think is even as good or better than the tournament, because the tournament has a life of its own. These kids have an opportunity to be seen and to find out how they fare against the best, which in a lot of places they can't do.
My last thing is there something out there that people can give back to the Beast, donate? We ask these guys about donating their money when they get out back to their high school, but is there people to give back, or how do we?
Show up in the stands and watch them wrestle and pay to get in.
Well, I gave Mike money every year.
Now,
Have
I'd
you
like
guys
to
got
thank Youth in Sports, who just became a sponsor. Dr. Axe gave me a check, and I really appreciate that. Youth
that
in
was
Sports
my
has
money.
been great. And
Enjoy
Thanks
it.
for your 10 years, Bob Shaw.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week.
What does opportunity mean to you? At Wilmington University, it means finding your relevance in the job market. That's why we offer career-oriented degree programs that meet employment needs in emerging fields. Dedicated professors bring their real-world experience into the classroom so you'll graduate with the tools you need to succeed on the job. It's your degree. Make it relevant to your career. Personalized education, affordable tuition. That's the difference at Wilmington University.
This show was sponsored by ATI, the company taking physical therapy to a higher level throughout the country. First State Orthopedics, where Youth in Sports hosts Drs. Straight and Axe are members of the team taking care of Delaware with a commitment to excellence. And President Jack Barcelona and his Wilmington University College of Technology, where each semester this student-run program is produced, directed, edited, and distributed under the guidance of the TV production faculty. Each guest receives a copy of the show, and all shows are available on the web at youthinsports.com.